that should be good.
Is that one good?
Yeah. No, dude, you got to plug it into the top hole of the outlet.
That's hold in 2 fingers and plug the other one into the bottom one.
Mm-hmm. That's how you turn your ears on.
And one time I got shocked bartending. I was like trying to plug back in the lotto machine, and like my thumb was on it, like
fuck!
And it really like the lights dim in the bar. It was like it was a full bar at happy hour, and it was like, and I was like, I let out like a yelp. I was like, oh! Everybody's like, you okay? And like you immediately become like a little kid who like got hurt because you don't want to act like you got hurt. You're like, yeah, I'm fine. Just everybody, just leave me alone.
Yeah,
look at me. Who needs another Rolling Rock?
Getting electrocuted to death by a fire machine would be the funniest fucking way to die.
Yeah, right?
Especially if it said jackpot as you died.
Yeah.
I almost died choking on that
the next ticket was
candy.
$1 million ticket.
No, it's even better when you scan one in that says not a winner. So I just not a winner.
He's hit.
Not a winner.
Oh man.
Anytime anybody makes me check like a scratcher, it's like, why are you making me check a scratcher? Like you can tell if it wins or not. Because I check and it says not a winner. I'm like, hey, Mike, check that out.
I don't think that works.
That's not just about your ticket. That's about you. Not a winner.
I got fancy headphones today. They're different.
Actually, I'll give you these headphones.
That's what you get for high stepping early, motherfucker.
Damn.
Protect that football.
Sports.
I didn't know that reference to high step.
Deion Sanders. Everything goes back to Forrest.
Dion. Fucking Dion. What am I doing here? Okay.
Don't puss out, man. Just do it.
All right, I'll do it.
Just do it.
It's gonna make me look bad.
Okay, well then don't do it. God forbid. Any other time you
All right,
around
well,
here.
now I'll do it. Now I'll do it.
No,
Oh yeah, I always look great around.
Yeah,
No
because
doubt.
any other time you're like, you idiots on Twitter. Say they push you over 100.
No, it's not the same thing. I promise.
Yeah, okay. Do what you want to do. You the quarterback, baby.
We got an iffy AKA today or something?
It sounds like it's risque.
Oh.
Oh.
The name of the podcast is banned from
Yeah, that's what I
Ringside.
see saying.
Risque is not the
Why else would you get banned from
Oh, if it's
Ringside?
racist, then you got to say it.
It's racist.
Oh, then you got to say it. I give my blessing.
We're live hearing him say it. So.
Yeah, right? Everybody that did hear me say it, you have my blessing. Bill is not a racist.
Well,
I know I'm like one of his 2 or 3 black friends in the world, but
Oh, I know at least.
We are going to talk about Hogan.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, if we're going to talk about Hogan tonight, you might as well go with it.
but yeah, let me get it off my chest now.
No, if you count people that I bartend to, I got 10.
No, that doesn't count.
10.
That doesn't count.
They all like
Like
me.
the whitest shit.
They're not your friend.
I give them
Dozens
booze.
I would like a Klansman if he gave me booze.
Okay, well,
Okay.
you're in for a treat.
Oh, shit. Good times. Remember that time we did the last podcast?
I'll say keyword in that sentence last.
Hashtag we're not actually racist.
Yeah, right.
It always works. You just say you're not racist before you say something racist.
I don't mean to be racist, but there's a Bill Burr joke that's actually phenomenal about that's along the same
That
line.
exact thing.
So something racist is about to be said when someone says, now I don't mean to be racist, but
You know how a racist joke always starts?
Just with a group of white people.
yeah, everybody looks around.
That's funny.
Oh, shit. Ooh. Sorry, Theo. I'm in the way of his wives.
But next time, they'll all be over here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we're moving shit.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Just when I'm getting
You
accustomed
guys
to
shut down
shit.
for a couple days to do that?
One.
Monday.
We'll see. We might be shutting down for a weekend. We'll see how it fucking goes.
Right. That sounds like a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I was going to say, ain't no way this happens in 2 days.
Yeah.
This is here, that is there.
No, like just all this shit in
The
the counter
operational
is
stuff
gonna
all
go
over.
all over. Yeah. So we'll see. Matt's gonna need a drink. Can you talk, Jason?
You're gonna
Can I
look,
talk?
You're gonna look.
I mean, what kind of question is that really?
you're gonna look
Okay?
like an operator in Mad Men. You're gonna be like,
Dude, literally, do you know that these are called tiny telephone cables because it's literally the exact same technology?
Really?
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's
yeah,
cool.
it's the same fucking thing.
So you're like an operator as well.
I am, and I'm a fucking sexy one,
You
dude.
need a bun haircut.
I don't
and
disagree.
And
I was
an
gonna
ashtray
say-
full of cigarettes.
He's the next
Yeah.
to get married amongst this group. I
That's
mean,
true, dude.
You don't know
I'm
that.
so hot.
You guys
my
can have a
fucking
shotgun wedding.
man titties are so
wait,
big.
whoa, hang
you're
on
amongst
now.
this group. Wait, what's going on? What do you mean amongst this group?
Married, engaged,
I'm single.
dating,
Fuck.
single.
Yeah, no.
I'm the odd man
Like
out.
you made it sound like there
Fuck
might be
boy.
some sort of question,
Right? Dude, that. Oh my god.
I don't
I'll get into
think
that
there's
later.
a question.
We'll ask Becky Balboa about that.
Please, by all means. I'll say she'll be
Shout out
here.
to Becky Balboa.
Okay, shit. I ain't scared.
Bring her on the podcast.
She'll be here. Trust me. I'll say whatever that the first Thursday of February when she's in town, she'll be here.
All right.
You can grill ass then.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Was that Bart Scott?
Joey Porter.
All right.
Ugh.
Joey Porter, right?
Nah, I think that's Bart Scott.
No, it was a
Sal
Steeler.
Palantonio. No, it's Sal Palantonio, but it's Bart Scott. He was playing for the Jets.
Okay.
They were getting ready to play the Steelers.
Oh, okay. All right.
3 people have liked our video. It's Becky, your dad, and my mom.
That's my dad. My dad is the king of that,
You still alive?
All our loved ones.
dude. My dad is still alive. Naked on that
Say,
recliner.
Where's he live
oh, you haven't buried him yet, is what you're saying.
And where's your mom live?
Yeah, she lives with my dad. Yeah, so
Oh, Jesus.
This lives in my dreams.
That's fucking hilarious.
All right. You guys ready?
We're ready.
she says she ain't scared, by the way, Jason. She's in the chat right now.
I love you, babe.
Here we go.
Tonight on the Band for Ringside podcast, we have your Wrestle Kingdom recap, AEW's big press conference, Hulk Hogan's return to the WWE, that and a whole bunch more tonight on the Band for Ringside podcast. Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Marks, and welcome to the Band from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, aka Ku Klux Hand. And to my right, as always,
Yes!
we have Two Beer. Zach Bowman, what's going on, Two Beer?
Oh man, I got peanut sauce all over my pants in Patagonia. It's bad. Note to you guys: don't ever try to eat a fucking burrito in your car. Even if you think you can do it, you never can.
And to his right, as always, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
Allow us to pull down the latest volume of the Band from Ringside podcast, volume 80, chapter 3, verse 14 of the Good Smart Sayeth, hashtag Boo the Heels. It's all good, baby. Shout out to my girl, Becky Balboa. What's up? Sorry, babe. I know I'm getting ready to be in trouble later on, but that's all good. Major wrestling, a lot to talk about. Let's keep it moving.
And to his right, we have Murray, the Murray Man. Murray, what's going on, Murray Man?
I'm doing great. I'm still high from Sunday's Glory Pro show from excitement. You know,
We were not
From the
indulging.
excitement of the Glory Pro show.
It was awesome.
I'm sorry that I missed it. I was a little under the weather, but how did it go overall?
it was a great show. I mean, we were there to sponsor the show, but I think we would have gone anyways. And it was awesome, man. They had a stacked card. The headline match with Kurt Stallion and Bandito was insane.
Yeah, Kurt Stallion's a real talent.
He is,
and I
man.
have not seen Bandito.
Friend of the show, Paco Gonzalez and Aiden Kingston had a really good match, too.
That whole
Yeah.
card was pretty damn good, dude.
Yeah.
It was
It was a
exciting.
TLC match. It was a good time. It was a good Sunday.
KLD
and
took a pounding in
Yeah,
that
he did.
match.
They're also tweeting and teasing some new talent in March, and it looked like it's not official. At least I didn't see it on Twitter, but based on the tease, it looked like we might be getting Pentagon
Yeah, it's
in March.
again. We've had him. They had him at one of my first Glory Pro shows. He was there a couple years ago. But yeah, it was Awesome.
They're great at bringing talent to St. Louis.
We are coming at you from the exquisite Shock City Studios in beautiful, cold St. Louis, Missouri, and we have Sam the Muller Mall turning the knobs tonight.
Mr. Perfect's
so
in the
much
house.
stuff to get to. Before we get too far into it, Band from Ringside and Glory Pro Wrestling, speaking of, are presenting 83 Weeks Live in St. Louis. Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson are bringing their hit podcast live to St. Louis Saturday, February 23rd at Off-Broadway Music Venue at the corner of Lemp and Broadway, a venue that I know well.
Me too.
Eric will be telling stories that you can't hear on the air, everything ranging from his time as Executive Vice President of WCW and even as WWE General Manager days. Also performing, opening the show will be Nathan Orton. Yes, that Orton. It's Randy's little brother, who is a hilarious comedian. I've had the pleasure of being a judge at a comedians competition that he took part in. He was the funniest one there.
Awesome.
He'll be opening the show with the comedy set. They'll be sure to have you in stitches. VIP tickets are available and will include a personal meet and greet with Eric and Conrad. Everybody knows who those guys are. That includes pictures and autographs, early entry, and a seat in the first 5 rows. For tickets, go to offbroadwaystl.com/events. Also, that day one ish sponsor, Soul Taco, that Korean Mexican fusion food that you didn't know that you need, but once you have it, you need it. They got places in St. Louis, Missouri on the U City Loop, 2 food trucks driving around town, Champaign, Illinois, Chicago, 2 places in Chicago, Illinois, Columbia, Missouri, Chesterfield, Missouri. Go get yourself some Soul Taco. They got tacos, burritos, quesadillas, kimchi fries, spicy pork, beef, chicken. Go get it, guys. I'm telling you, nobody's ever lied on this show about how much they like Soul Taco. And you can follow them on all your major social media
Platforms.
Thank you very much. Nobody lies about it. Everybody loves it. Soul Taco, it's the place to go. Tell them the big man from Ringside sent you.
It's a hip vibe in there. Just eat inside and don't eat it in your car.
Yeah. You gotta eat the burrito in your car. Absolutely. And that'll bring us to our 3 counts.
I hit the fucking thing. God damn it.
Sam hit the fucking
I
thing.
hit it.
He said he did. JCB, what you got?
Sam's on the ball tonight. Let's
Don't
jump
play-
back.
don't play
We're going to jump back to Friday morning. Sleep deprived JCB and crew watching a little Wrestle Kingdom 13 straight from the Tokyo Dome. We'll start at the top. Obviously, I'm sure everybody in the room knows, so there's no spoilers coming out. So we'll just start at the top, work our way down. All the title holders lost in some surprising fashion, others not so much, depending on who it is. Obviously, that being said, Tanahashi beat Kenny Omega, in my opinion, the best match of the night. Naito
Agreed.
beat Jericho. Jay White, I thought, was the biggest surprise of the bunch because that means they basically had to put him over one of the major Big 4 wrestlers in New Japan. He goes over Okada
As JCB would say, CLEAN.
clean as a whistle. Kushida lost to Ishimori, which I thought was going to happen, should have
Cool
happened.
match.
Good match. Juice Cody was okay. Apparently, Cody has a meniscus going on, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But
He's going
obviously,
in for surgery.
he had to drop
He also might have had some other things
going on. Yeah, a couple other things that we might have to talk
That
about.
we'll get to in our 2 guys.
Evil and Sonata won the triple threat match with G.O.D. and the Bucks. Ishii loses to Zack Sabre Jr., which was a little bit of a surprise. I said that
But we all
Zack Sabre
called it.
Jr. was going to win, but
All
it wouldn't
three
have
of us
been
called it.
surprised if Ishii won that match. You had Will Ospreay basically taking out Kota Ibushi with one of the nastiest, vicious elbows I've ever seen in
Man,
my
we
life.
all had that one wrong.
Yeah, it's a shocker.
So
I
what was
know.
your favorite? You said your favorite match of the night was Tanahashi versus Omega. Tell us why.
Because it stuck to the script of Tanahashi being the old school guard versus Kenny Omega being more of this modern day hybrid strong style meets the Flash, the promotion of the Bucks. So you have more of what the Twitter universe is, the wrestling Twitter 2019 versus the New Japan Old Guard and Tanahashi, where you had that kind of collective meeting each other and trying to settle their differences. To me, the biggest spot was when the table was set up and you had Kenny Omega on the table, and then you had Tanahashi going to the top. And you always, well, you know, part of the biggest thing that going into it was Tanahashi didn't agree with how Kenny Omega uses the tables, the big spots, stuff like that. It should be just.
And the announcers told a great story by reiterating that, because I was not aware of that as a semi-casual, casual to more than casual viewer. I did not know that that was Tanahashi's thing. The announcer told a great story.
And that was, that led up to this spot where I'm looking at this, I'm like, no, he's not getting ready. We've had this whole discussion about how we're not going to do this. And the next thing you know, high fly flow, smacks through the table, vicious spot. That to me just encapsulated the whole match into itself. I kind of thought I shouldn't even say I kind of thought, I was hoping that Omega would hold on to the title and then drop it later on this month. But obviously, once again, we'll talk about that later. Like I said, to me, the biggest surprise is that all the champions lost. I can't think of any promotion, any card where you had 6, 7, 8 matches. Let's say you got 3 title holders, all the title holders lost. In this case, we got like over 5 or 6, and they all lost.
Zach,
seven title changes.
As the only man in the room that had Tanahashi going over, what did you think about that match?
Great story. It was the exact story, just like Jason said. He's had such an amazing year, coming back from being hurt, cleaning house, and beating everybody except Jay White in the G1. It was fantastic. It was interesting. Got up to watch it, skipped the pre-show so I could get a little bit of extra hour of sleep. Jumped in, had my 2-liter of Mountain Dew sitting there because I'm not drinking this month.
And you were in Illinois.
And I was in Illinois, yeah. And so hanging out on Twitter with these guys, it was fantastic. The front of the card, the undercard all felt rushed. And that was kind of the story of the night. They kept the whole thing to 4 hours.
I was going to say the final match was at least twice as long as any other match on the card.
Yeah,
at least twice as long.
They gave all the time. It was
You
the
think
longest
that was
main
by
event.
design?
It was I think so, because it was the longest main event I think in Tokyo Dome history, at least Wrestle Kingdom history.
I think that's what they said.
The only one even close to the time was Okada White. Okada White was around 22 minutes, and Omega Tanahashi was, I think, 48.
Yeah, so
I think those are approximate numbers.
No.
Sure.
I was going to say that probably sounds about right. All I can say to this is it wasn't like you could add 5 or 10 minutes and make this a better card, a better match. The matches were all still solid matches. So
Yeah.
if you wanted to have more of a quote-unquote complete story, then yeah, I can see where your beef is.
I'm sorry, Y2J Naito was probably around 30 minutes.
it was longer than Okada White.
Yes,
but,
sorry.
I think Okada White was less than 20 minutes. But yeah, I think a few of the matches, I don't necessarily say suffered, but they would have been pretty epic had they gone longer because there was not a dud on the card.
Like what? What's the one match that you wish would have had more time?
Ibushi, Will Ospreay.
I'd say Ibushi, Will Ospreay,
Yeah.
and you toss that up with Sabre and Ishii.
I think if they would have given Ibushi Will Ospreay some more time, I'm not sure if they had, Ibushi would have made it because he got potatoed.
No, I agree
hard.
with that.
And actually, it wasn't even the elbow. That was all a work. They planned the stretcher spot. He did get kicked in the corner earlier in the match, and he was a little
When he
concussed.
was in the Tree of Woe.
Yeah, and he got kicked in the face.
yeah,
so that
they had the bloody nose. coming
everybody
after
was
that.
freaking out about
I'll tell
that
you what.
elbow and acting like Ospreay was unsafe. And he worked it on Twitter. It was fucking great.
There's a long line of Ibushi matches that I've watched, though, probably the last 4, where I'm always like, man, this guy works so fucking hard. I mean, the Ibushi Ishii match
Oh God!
in G1 is probably the stiffest match I've ever seen on a major card.
I told you I don't even know if I want to watch it ever again.
Ishii,
But it was great.
one match that I'm going to give a little bit of credence to: Okada versus White was fucking great. Y2J versus Naito was great. There's lots to be said about where Y2J's all-time standing keeps climbing up the ladder, maybe, and that'll come a little bit later in the show as we talk about AEW. The match that stood out to me, besides the main event, was the match of the night. Y2J with Naito. It seems like Y2J and Naito have a very good head for going into a show and giving the crowd something different than they've been seeing for the rest of the match or for the rest of the card. Ishii versus Zack Sabre Jr. was stood out to me because those are two guys that fight very different styles.
Oh yeah.
And were able to put together a match that melded those two styles where neither guy gave up too much in terms of neither guy got out of their own pocket very much, but they were able to meld those two styles together, and I love that match. That match could have gone another 10 minutes for me.
It's like when we were talking about Jonathan Gresham versus Zack Sabre Jr., you had two guys that had the technical style, so it kind of felt a little boring, and I can understand why people would think that. Now you got like two opposite styles where you got Ishii that is smash mouth versus Zack Sabre Jr., who's arguably the best technical wrestler in the world.
And both those guys are so good at selling the match.
They can work with anybody.
They're so good at selling the match within the match. Like Ishii, was selling on his face. I'm annoyed by this guy. Keep trying to put me in submission. Let's stand up and punch each other in the face. And Zack Sabre Jr., who's such a great cocky heel. He's such a great cocky heel. And he kept just shoving his foot on the Ishii's head when Ishii was sitting down. Ishii was just kind of staring at him, like the way I look at my puppy when my puppy's like, "Hey, come on, let's play." And I'm like, "Fuck you, dude." And that was the match that stood out to me. Overall, might not have been the best Wrestle Kingdom. I've watched the last three. It was certainly a great Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to. If I had to give it a letter, I would say it's a solid B. I mean, it's hard for me to.
I would give it higher than that. I would say hanging over it because you knew that the AEW stuff was coming down. A couple of the finishes were
predictable. Let's just call it for what it is.
Yeah, predictable.
Yeah, I'd say it was an A show.
I would say it was an A show. Yeah, I had Cody.
That's the
Cody
only
versus
reason I'm
Jesus.
knocking it because it was predictable in spots, and that's the only thing. The in-ring action, there was nothing wrong with that. It's just the booking had to be done for a certain way. Just quick side note before we move on. I read somewhere that Gato books 2 years in advance.
Yep.
2 years?
2 years in paper notebooks so that nobody can access them. Like
that shit's crazy to me.
Also, so nobody can call them a liar because hey, they're in paper notebooks. Like how would you do that?
and it's working. Look
Yeah,
at where
right.
New Japan's come in the last 2 years.
For sure.
2 count.
All right,
What you got?
2 count. Unless you've been living under a rock or you don't have any social media or I don't know what to say if you don't
This
know.
is probably
about
the
all
biggest
Maybe if
the
you
news of
don't.
the week.
Maybe what if you just don't give a shit about AEW? Maybe you just hate on it.
Or maybe just tune in to Band from Ringside to get your wrestling news.
Yeah, maybe
You gotta
that's
wait
that.
a week.
I'll give you a benefit of the doubt. So anyway, we had the All Elite Wrestling Rally Tuesday afternoon. Came at a good time right as I was getting off work. I was able to pull it up on YouTube and watch it live. Some notes.
Is there McDonald's in this room? That smells delicious.
You've been smelling fast food since you got out of the car.
I think it's the peanut sauce on my crotch.
Dare you to smell it.
And so it begins.
We had Conrad Thompson hosting and calling out talent. At first, it didn't seem like it was going to be much new stuff. It seemed like it was just going to be a rally for the All In show, maybe an announcement of All In 2. But we got some good stuff. We had Cody come out and say that wins and losses are going to matter a bunch, more than they ever have. JCB is all about that. I'm all about that myself.
So am I.
Talent.
Everybody's all. I thought that everybody was all about that.
I think a lot
No,
of
clearly,
people
I'm the guy that's been hammering that home in the room, but that's another story. Please continue.
Talent is going to be paid, and they're going to be paid well. And then we had the Bucks come out, and Matt Jackson announced a partnership with OWE, which is huge. He described these guys as a Chinese wrestling company as a mix of Cirque du Soleil, Kung Fu, and Lucha Libre.
Did you watch any YouTube stuff of those guys?
Just a little bit.
Bits and pieces.
It's fucking baller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he makes a good point. I haven't seen like
It's
a
the
card
new,
or
it's the
anything.
new
but
frontier for us Westerners. It's
Yeah,
pretty bad.
Absolutely. And you know that that's going to burn Vince McMahon's ass if he's trying to get into a billion-person market.
I say,
Exactly.
I say, you saw how you
That
took
motherfucker
your
put-
boy off
that
of
motherfucker
the
put-
opening clip.
He took Jericho off the opening clip. He put the belt on Jinder Mahal for 6 months trying to get into India. What the fuck would he do trying to get into China? Anyway, I'm going to run down the rest of the card or of what they said. Brandy Rhodes came out and said they're going to have a women's division, which we knew because they signed Britt Baker. but she also said that women's pay is going to be equal to the men's pay in the sense that entry level and mid card and top talent are all going to be paid the same. Then we had MJF come out, which was cool. That was a new announcement. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, if you know him from MLW, AAW, if you saw him up at StarCast, great young heel.
He sat next to us at StarCast, and I had no idea who he was.
I didn't know him then either.
Well, I knew he was, and he was a dick. Did not come out of character at all.
He was healing it up the entire time.
I don't know if that was a character. He was just sitting next to me. Nobody was around, and he was like, "Don't get any of your food on me." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Do you think I'm eating over here like the Tasmanian devil?" I was like, "Do you think that food just spits out of my mouth and goes 4 feet away?"
Dude, it was funny. He sat there for 10, 15 minutes waiting for Christopher Daniels to pick him up.
Yeah,
I was like, "You want to cut some pod?" He's like, "What, 30 seconds worth?" I'm like, "All right, whatever, dude."
Yeah.
He was the exact same way when he wrestled at Glory Pro earlier in the year. It's like he does not break.
No.
So it's either he's just
It's either he doesn't
naturally,
break or he's just.
Or he's just.
That's what I would say.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'll go with the latter. He's just
Talented guy.
I'm good with it,
Talented
though.
guy.
Oh
good
yeah,
with it.
great sign for them. He's a young guy. He's going to be top heel in that in their
For
promotion.
sure.
Joey Janela comes out with Penelope Ford, which is another surprise. I mean, not a big surprise, but another surprise.
He's a name.
Hits Janela with a fucking crutch, or hits MJF with a crutch. So once he's back from being hurt, they'll be wrestling. Penelope Ford is talented. She's attractive. She'll do well. Then we had Adam Page come out and say he wants to be the first champion. The guy that has a problem with that is motherfucking Pac. Neville from WWE.
All
days.
caps PAC.
PAC comes out with his Dragon Gate Championship. Gets in
his ring gear.
Yeah, in his ring gear.
I'll get you some.
Wet,
Yeah,
oily
fuck
hair. And so obviously we're going to have Page versus Pac sometime in the future, probably at Double or Nothing. They announced Double or Nothing. It's going to be at the MGM Grand Memorial Day weekend on 5/25. There's going to be another StarCast. And then also there's going to be another AEW show in Jacksonville, Florida. After that, sometime in the late summer, early fall. And the proceeds are going to go towards victims of gun violence. And I thought that was the show. So I got on Friends of BFR and I posted all this shit. And Connor Holt says, "Oh," and Jericho signed. So at the very end, Chris Jericho comes out, which is obviously the biggest deal, biggest surprise. So what do you guys think about that?
Murray, what do you think?
I thought I don't know. This is kind of irrelevant, but when Jericho came out, I thought it was hilarious because they were all going nuts. And then he went behind the podium and was getting ready to talk, and they got quiet for a second. So he was like, "Come on!" and they didn't really do it. Or it was before he went there, and then they started cheering again, and he would start walking towards the thing, and they got quiet. And he would go out and have to go like this again. It was really kind of a
It
strange.
was not a
thing.
very big crowd.
No, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
I
It was cool. Like
I just thought that part was funny.
it would almost make me a little bit more reticent to put stock in AEW if it had been a huge
For sure.
deal. Because then you're expecting too much. I thought that the way that looked, they did a couple wide shots, and it's like, don't do a wide shot there, guys.
It's like a couple hundred people.
I also
Yeah,
wondered
couple
what WWE thought that they were like right down the street from them.
I thought that the best thing that they did, and this is what gives me a lot of. First of all, the biggest disappointment was that they didn't announce a TV deal, but from everything that we hear, that's in the near
They're
future.
not going to drop everything at once.
And they probably don't have it solidified yet.
Yeah.
So whether or not it's TBS or TNT, that would be the biggest deal possible for realistically would be TBS or TNT, and that would be great if they were able to do Being the Elite or Tuesday Night Dynamite or whatever on one of those channels.
CBS.
I thought the best thing that they did was instead of immediately inserting Jericho into a title picture or something like that, is that they made the title picture. It looks like the first. If this press conference is any indication, the first feud that they're going to have for the championship are two young guys, two guys that have potential to become real stars. Hangman Page versus Pac, aka Neville, and I think that that's looking ahead. WCW. TNA, they both made their bones on grabbing old guys that were big stars and let's bring them in. And that was a different time. That was coming off the heels of the early 90s and coming off the heels of the Attitude Era and stuff like that. But AEW, from what I can tell, is making the smart play is having Hangman Page versus Pac as their first title feud, and I think that's really smart, Jason.
Well, I mean, it's kind of philosophies in how you build an organization. Kind of like you said, you can go one way and you can go a bunch of established stars, sprinkling in some I won't say no name, but indie guys, or you can go the opposite way, go a bunch of indie guys, sprinkle in your Chris Jericho's and go that way. Hangman Page, like I've said, and I've said it before, I think he's going to be a world champion at some point. I don't know if it's going to be at AEW, but that's a good start. I want to see the rest of this roster, who completes this roster. The way it's kind of feeling, it doesn't seem like we'll be doing any type of shows until the back half of 2019, which is not a problem. I don't think you necessarily need to announce a TV deal, but I think with Chris Jericho basically saying that he wouldn't have came over if there wasn't a TV deal, I think there's a connect the dots game to it. So it's all kind of there. We're just gonna have to be patient and let this thing unfold. I think the biggest things to kind of look forward to the next few months is what's the buildup for Double or Nothing, because at that point you're going to have a title match with Page versus Pac, but then you're going to have to fill in a rest of this card. So you at some point you're going to add some more talent. That's fine. Then you will have a better idea of what the roster looks like. The second thing, and I think what's the most important thing is I don't think that you necessarily need to do a live show if you're AEW. Look at NXT. One of the best shows out there, and it's a tape show. You can get the spoilers if you want to. If not, you can avoid the spoilers. But ultimately,
most of the time you can avoid the spoilers
if you want to. Some people want to know. Other people like myself don't want to know. But
Tony Storm.
Oh, yeah, right. Ultimately, this boils down to doing the product the right way. If you do it the right way, you have good production. You have this TV deal, like I said, it's probably coming up here sooner versus later. Everything else will start to take care of itself. Get the good talent, book it right. It shouldn't be a problem.
I agree. It should not be a problem. Why I think that the TV deal is so important is because then I can start to think about, I'm just talking personally as a wrestling fan, I can start to think about like, hey man, I can set this on my DVR. Like this is something that I can watch. Like, and I want them to start I want them to start poaching star. Like I said to you earlier, I think that who this hurts the most is ROH. I think this is going to decimate ROH as a promotion. It's going to suck for them because AEW is going to go out there and they're going to get a lot of guys and they're going to start filling this out. There's so many talented wrestlers out there though that we are hurting for another weekly show that's going to be on a major network. That's easy. I know a lot of people go out there and they watch YouTube, and I'm a dinosaur. I don't automatically go to YouTube and start watching Being the Elite. And maybe that's why I'm the dinosaur that still watches Raw and SmackDown every week, just because I know it's on my DVR and I know I can sit down with my noodles or my soup and I can just start watching those shows on Monday or Tuesday. But if Tuesday Night Dynamite is on TBS on Tuesday nights, then I can DVR it and I can watch it every single week. And that's what excites me.
Well, you know it's going to happen because, I mean, SmackDown's going to move to Friday.
It certainly seems like it's going to happen. And
so, I mean, it makes sense.
That is exciting. That'll bring us to our 3 count. There's so much stuff to get to.
Right, keep it moving, nigga.
So, the 3 count, it's funny that you use that word. The 3
Nice segue.
The 3 count is...
Thank you.
Hulk Hogan made his return to WWE television this week. And he made his return for the Mean Gene memorial promo segment, whatever you want to say, at 8 o'clock on Raw this week. And all I want to say about this is it's possible to have two thoughts in your head at both times, two thoughts that might kind of grind against each other at the same time. The first one being that Hulk Hogan was the right person to come out on Monday Night Raw and deliver the Mean Gene tribute because they are so intertwined. Hulk Hogan has given Mean Gene credit for creating Hulkamania or being very instrumental in Hulkamania. The other one being that this was a cheap ploy by WWE to try to put Hulk Hogan back on television after his transgressions. And transgressions is a nice way of a video coming out of him saying the N-word several times and saying that he doesn't want his daughter dating one of those N-words. Both those things can be true. The one that wins out in my head ultimately is that they shouldn't have brought him back. I think that a 10-minute long Mean Gene tribute probably would have done just as good. I don't doubt that Hulk Hogan felt everything that he said in that segment. I don't doubt that in a vacuum, he's the best guy to deliver that message. And I don't think that Hulk Hogan's transgressions should, and I don't think they do. I don't think they negate Gene Mean's contributions to the industry. Did you just look at me because I said negate?
No, because you said Gene Mean.
Like Jericho.
Did I really say Gene Mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Jericho.
Called Jericho.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
I'm a Jericho fan.
Okay.
What do you think, Jason?
I mean, and without just taking the usual.
I thought because I said negate.
Yeah.
Did
It was
I
the cheap
mispronounce
boy to get Hulk Hogan back into our good graces. You use Gene Okerlund's death, and I said it last week. I don't think Mean Gene, without seeing Hulk Hogan starting the promo with you, let me tell you something, Mean Gene, and I get it. Okay, it's nostalgia. You know, everybody's still a little upset because Mean Gene passed, but I'm sorry. I'm petty when it comes to shit like this. And I will be petty until the day you bury me 6 feet under.
I'm not sure that's petty, though.
I cannot look past the fact that you use this dude to represent your company after what he said.
Let me white explain this. That's not petty.
Well, I mean, for me, maybe it feels petty. I guess better choice of words. I just can't look past it. I get it. The connection is there. But then when he comes out and the crowd is kind of like, what should we do? What should we do? You know, don't put the crowd in that position. Just do a video clip. Just be done with it. Do all Gene Okerlund's greatest hits. We've done this before.
They could have even had Hogan do a short clip on a video saying,
right,
you know, he's
do it via video. If you wanted to have Hulk Hogan a part of it, do it like that. Keep it all video.
Producer Murray.
There you go.
Let this guy produce the territory.
Do it like that, and that way you get both things encompassing all at once. Do you have to have Hulk Hogan there? Yeah, probably. Did you need him live?
No,
definitely not.
Actually,
no, you actually
that's
did.
Exactly right.
You did need him live if you wanted to fucking hawk T-shirts, which is exactly what they were doing.
yeah, that
Right.
No.
That night, it was 20% off all fucking Hulkamania
Of course.
merchandise.
which sucks because that means he has to have shirts on sale for people to give a shit about buying nostalgic shirts. Like that's
There's
not
people that
important.
give a shit though.
Oh, I know.
I
but
mean,
yeah.
there's
Oh,
still
yeah.
people. There was a
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
that was trying to defend. He was like, "Well, he said it in private, so it shouldn't be a big deal."
Man.
What the fuck you mean
That
it
makes
shouldn't
it
be a big
worse.
deal?
There was one guy in the crowd where Hulk stopped his promo and he's like, "What you say, brother?" He's like, "You're wearing my T-shirt. What you say?" And I had a really funny image in my head where they pan over and he's like holding a burning cross and he's like, "You tell him, Hogan."
The thing is like the people that like fucking, and like you guys said, it's both things. It absolutely is. It rubbed me the wrong way, and there's people that are ready to forgive, or they don't care that he said the fucking N-word, and they're just happy to fucking have him back. And I just don't. I think WWE is very tone deaf, and they want to act like a progressive company, but they are the exact opposite of that, and they consistently set the wrong example. Consistently.
Well,
I mean, we had the Crown Jewel thing where fucking Hogan was at also.
Yeah.
And we have
Awkward.
Hogan on Raw, and they need to do a lot of fucking Connor's Cure shit to fucking make up for all the bullshit they do. They need to do way more than they do now.
That's
That's
just
all optics.
Yeah.
Also,
That's just a tip of the iceberg.
I'm
They
just
need to
saying.
do way more.
WWE
No, I
has
think
a
that's what Zach was saying, though. I mean,
WWE has a-
you're going to do Connor's Cure times 10,000
Yeah.
to get over the bad shit that you guys have done.
now you got to see a black kid with cancer.
Yeah, right. They gave it get Sasha Banks over.
That'll do it for our 3 count. Jason, tell us about F&B Eatery.
Oh, as my stomach settles in. That was great. Nice. F&B Eatery on 3453 Southampton. I can't believe I got to follow up behind that. I was just there this afternoon. Obviously, if you follow me on Facebook, I
What'd you
posted
get?
it on Facebook. It was called the Colombian. 2 beef patties, garlic aioli, pineapple. Yes, I said pineapple with potato chips and fries on the side. It sounds a little crazy, but the pineapple gave it the sweetness. The garlic aioli was in your nice little mayonnaise, and then the potato chips was the crunch. Good to go. Some chips on the side. I'm sorry, some potato chips on the side. Let's try this again. Fries on the side, potato chips on it. I
I'm very
actually
excited.
put it. Yeah, I do. Look, I like me some burger. I mean, what the fuck? This was news to me. I just don't. You don't see pineapple on burgers. You see it on pizza. So for me, as a quote unquote a foodie, this kind of played with my senses because you had the sweetness of the pineapple, the crunchiness of the potato chips, and then the garlic aioli acting essentially as the mayonnaise. So anyway, that was your feature of the day. They just changed their hours of operation back over from was it Wednesday through Friday, 11 to 8, and Saturdays and Sundays from 8 to 2, closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. So in closing, go check them out. F&B Eatery, 3453, part of our Southampton Mafia. Tell them JCB sent you.
This is Bam from Tableside. Okay, we got some odds and ends going on here. One of the odds and ends, and you guys might have missed it, but it was the TNA Homecoming pay-per-view that featured one of the best tag team matches that I've ever seen in my entire life, which was LAX versus Lucha Brothers, which is Phoenix and Pentagon Jr., who are actually brothers in real life, right?
Yep.
Aren't they? That match was insane. The X Division match was also very good. Rich Swann ended up winning. Disgraced WWE wrestler Rich Swann ended up winning it. Any thoughts on that, Murray?
I haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm stoked. I'm literally, when I get home tonight, I'm probably going to start watching.
Zach, thoughts?
Very well-rounded pay-per-view. Great opener, high-flying action. Great women's wrestling. Great brawls. Hardcore.
The Eddie Edwards Moose match was a brawl.
Oh man, it was good. And fucking the Abyss and oh fuck, what's his name? Eli Drake.
Eli Drake.
I saw that table
was,
spot. That looked crazy.
There was some brutal shit on there. Altogether, it was better than almost every WWE pay-per-view of 2018. So don't fucking sleep on it. I enjoyed that whole pay-per-view. What's the last fucking WWE pay-per-view where you sat and you enjoyed every match except like one?
I can't do the Abyss stuff. I hate Abyss. I hate
but
Abyss
that just kind of is what it is.
I hate Monsters Ball matches.
Man,
I used to watch all the TNA pay-per-views. I used to buy TNA pay-per-views back in 2011, 2012.
You didn't like
Abyss,
Mankind back then?
Abyss has been doing the exact same matches forever. He
Yeah.
pours out the tax. He's got what's her name? What's the big thing's name?
Lucille or something.
No, Janice.
Janice. I hate Abyss.
He's just like a carbon copy mixture of Mankind and Kane.
Yeah,
That's exactly
It's exactly what he is until he takes the mask off and he's that weird. Like,
That being
normal
said,
guy.
it's corporate.
Yeah.
Abyss.
Yeah,
I don't want to dwell on the bad. I want to dwell on the good. Go ahead.
The good, obviously, the tag team match was good.
Good.
Great.
It was great.
It's early tag team match of the year.
We
as
need to
far as I'm
remember
concerned.
next year during the B-First when we're talking about best tag team match.
Oh, I wrote it down.
Okay.
Trust me, I already wrote this joke down because I don't want to
It's
forget.
fantastic. Go out your way to watch that. Guys. LAX versus the Lucha Brothers. It's
Rosemary
crazy.
coming back, I thought was good just on storyline purposes because now you're going to set up, former best friends, Allie versus Rosemary against each other. You got Sue Young, who is kind of in the peripheral. Jordan Grace, I thought, did an amazing job on the card. There's more good than bad. The only two bad things I'll even want to discuss is the botch at the end of the main event. That was pretty bad. And
I didn't
then
really like that whole match.
it was okay. It wasn't great. And then I thought the women's title match was a little overbooked, where you kind of had Gail Kim being the special enforcer to try to keep everything in line. She ends up being a part of the match itself, strikes down Tessa Blanchard, where Tara Valkyrie gets the win. So I thought that was kind of, overbooked. But overall, I mean, I didn't feel like my time was wasted. It was a good pay-per-view. Well, I would say it was better than anything that WWE's put out in 2018. Let's not go that far, but it was a good pay-per-view. It's a good start if I'm going to watch this for the start of 2019.
I'd say that Zach hates WWE more than we do. So, like, he's going to see TNA, and everything he sees, he's going to be like, well, that's better. That's better than WWE.
Let's reel him back in a little bit. So.
Sasha Banks won the number one contenders match against Nia Jax, and now she is facing Ronda Rousey at Royal Rumble for the belt. Thoughts, Murray?
I mean, I'm interested to see where they're going to take it because obviously she was on fire when she first came up, and she was on fire for a while when she first came up.
Sasha?
And she's just kind of been floating around in the Bailey land for a while. So I think I'm interested to see if they're going to take it somewhere decent. They're trying something new by putting her up again. Again, though, like I said on Twitter or wherever it was, watching Nia botch that what was supposed to be like a hurricanrana out of the ring, and Sasha almost got fucking hurt from
She's
it.
gonna kill somebody.
Like, send her back to the fucking performance center.
I'm surprised more people aren't talking about that. Because
me
she
too.
almost killed Sasha,
It makes me
who
infuriated.
is money.
Yeah. So, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do with her because I'd like to see her kind of chop it up with some of the lead girls right now.
Zach.
Yeah, I'm glad she's getting a push. I mean, she is one of the best female performers that they have. Unfortunately, the only reason they're doing it is because the program they want to work is they want to push it to Mania. But Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda is the at the top of the list for potential main events for WrestleMania, the triple threat. So really, it's not that Sasha's getting it on her own merits. It's just she's a filler, but it's good to see her in that position.
What do you think, Jason?
In the immortal words of Cal Norton Jr., bingo. That's all this is. They just setting this girl up to be fed to Ronda Rousey. I don't care what nobody says. If you guys can't see that, then that's on you. It's great because we haven't seen Sasha in the title picture for a while, so that's the excitement.
That's why I'm skeptical about it. Because
You should be. You should be. Let me get this straight. Sasha Banks is going to go to WrestleMania as a Raw Women's Champion?
No.
Fuck no. All this is she's the next in line to get served up to Ronda Rousey. Now, how it finishes is the question. Does Charlotte get involved? Does Becky get involved? Do they both get involved?
Can they protect Sasha?
So they don't care about Sasha. They don't care.
That's not necessarily true.
Please.
This is what we got.
She's never defended her 4 titles.
Thank you. Not a one successful title defense.
This is what we got into last week, though. And this is a fundamental difference that I think that you and I have, because I think that Samoa Joe being in a program with Brock Lesnar, despite losing, ultimately raises Samoa Joe's profile. So if Sasha's going, like everybody says, getting fed to Ronda Rousey. So if Sasha Banks goes in to Royal Rumble, and let's say they have a 12-minute match, and let's say that Sasha gets some rub, and then Sasha maybe there's a DQ finish, maybe there's a schmoz finish, okay, and Sasha doesn't look terrible coming out. Isn't being in a ring with Ronda Rousey for the next 3 or 4 weeks, cutting promos or doing whatever they have to do to build up to this match, isn't that ultimately better for Sasha Banks than never being in the program at all?
Here's the problem.
No. I want a yes or no.
No.
But isn't that the same that they're doing with Mustafa Ali?
Apples and oranges.
Don't make
apples
sense,
and oranges.
Murray.
Apples
Please
and oranges.
don't start making sense.
Apples
Please
and
don't
oranges.
please
I'm
don't
just
start
saying.
making
Apples
sense.
and oranges.
I'm just saying.
Talk to me when Mustafa Ali has won the WWE title 4
Okay,
times
I mean,
and not defended it successfully
there
once,
is a
and then
difference
come
there.
back
No,
to talk to
I'm
me.
all about
This
it,
is
but-
apples and oranges.
Girl, why
And
can't fruit be compared?
Hey, but
Okay.
there could be pineapple on the hamburger.
there can't be pineapple on a hamburger, but it's different than an apple.
That's
Just
a
because
really-
you put the
that's a
syrup
really
on
good
a
point.
just because you put syrup on it doesn't make it a pancake now. Goddamn.
Oh my God!
Is that
All
a
these
vi-
food
is that a
cliches.
vice?
Yeah. I was trying to get it out so
Hungry,
quick.
boys. I know, right?
I'm of a fundamental difference with you that I think that her being in a ring, cutting promos with Ronda, raises her profile.
Sasha
Might make her
doesn't
some
need-
more money selling shirts and stuff. Like, if you're all about the art, that's one thing. But if These people are trying to get over. That's going to get Sasha over even more.
Sasha doesn't need to be getting over. Ronda Rousey needs to be getting over.
I mean, I agree
This
with that a
is
little
this
bit.
is the problem. Ronda Rousey's
over.
not a professional wrestler. She's an She used to do MMA that now does professional wrestling. Sasha Banks, on the other hand, is a professional wrestler, has been doing this for quite some time. It should be that Ronda gets the rub from Sasha versus Sasha getting the rub from Ronda.
To that point though, when Brock first started out, they were doing that with Brock.
What you mean, come on?
They were not putting Brock over every
If I
time.
started to do what Sam is doing, that means I should be getting rub from Sam because Sam is the producer, super producer.
You're talking about apples and oranges, and now you're comparing you and Sam.
That's all.
Ronda and Sasha.
That's all I'm saying, though.
And
I'm talking about someone that has been doing something for quite some time.
Spaceships.
Okay, someone call his Sam Sasha Banks, and I could be Ronda Rousey. I shouldn't be anywhere in a position to be more popular, more potent, whatever word you want to use, than Sasha Banks is. Okay? That's the problem.
All right. Moving on.
Please.
Daniel Bryan is doing some great work on SmackDown, cutting some killer promos on SmackDown.
I really liked how they did that. How they came into the lobby and everything. That was awesome.
It was different.
He threw that hot
fun.
dog hard.
They did, too. That was awesome.
I felt bad for that dude. I was like, man, what the fuck?
As the environmentalist hippie heel, like Daniel Bryan is really doing some stellar work.
It's so funny because I agree with everything he says, and I still fucking.
That's the beauty of it.
Relishing the heelness of it. It's fucking perfect.
It's so easy to gloss past Daniel Bryan just because we're used to him. He's only been back for 6 months or something like that. I mean,
and he's only been the new Daniel Bryan for 2 months.
Right. And we're already, it's like, we already know that, Daniel Bryan's so good, so we really don't have to talk about it. But we really should talk
this
about
change definitely.
His promos are so good as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
And he is doing such great work. And I'm excited about the Daniel Bryan AJ Styles match. And if you would have told me that the wrestling community, the internet wrestling community, would be bored with the Daniel Bryan AJ Styles feud in January of 2019, when January of 2018, AJ Styles was the champ, and Daniel Bryan still hadn't fought in forever, I'd be calling you guys a liar. But nonetheless, here we are.
I think it's kind of a hot take that, you know how there's all this AJ Styles ding-ding stuff going on? Like, he keeps getting kicked and punched in the dick.
Yeah.
Do you remember how he won the title against Dean Ambrose?
Kicked him in the nuts.
I'm just saying.
That's a lot of dick play.
He started it, is what I'm saying.
What does that have to do with Daniel Bryan?
They're in a match. What?
See, that's why he occupies the 4th seat right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Bananas and lemons.
I also want to say that Mysterio and Mustafa Ali versus Samoa Joe and Almas had a great tag team, 10-minute tag team match that had a bunch of great spots in it.
Talk about great tag team matches, like you mentioned on Homecoming. That match was fantastic. I loved it.
I'm so happy that Mustafa Ali is up on the main roster.
I want to know what happened there. Like, why?
It seems really strange that they're giving
why
him
all of a sudden are they in love with him? Like,
I mean,
here's our bone.
Rightfully so.
No, this is our bone. That here's your fresh start, Mustafa Ali. Okay,
Mustafa Ali came up before they did that, though.
Yeah, I'm sure it was in the works. Though.
Mustafa Ali was already up on the main roster before they said we're going to have the fresh start.
Okay, but his early little push coincides with this fresh start initiative.
I agree.
Okay, all of a sudden now he's in the ring with AJ Styles, with Daniel Bryan. He's getting queen pins on Daniel Bryan. Granted, he didn't have the fall this week, but he's in another prominent spot. I'm not sitting up here. Look, Mustafa Ali is an amazing talent. Don't get it twisted. I'm just saying the plays are still the same. The players are different. We still started with a 6-man tag on Raw. Again, what's that, the 15th time in a row we've done that? Yeah, the names are just different.
But we didn't talk about it. We've talked about New Japan, AEW, TNA, Ring of Honor, and WWE. We didn't talk about it on this podcast. We can let Raw suck. Like I said on Facebook the other day, getting mad at Raw for sucking is like getting mad at a dog for barking.
Okay,
Why are we spending all this energy?
Am I mad? I think we know when I'm mad.
No, you're usually calm. Yeah.
No, I would like to think I know when I'm throwing my usual J Bell
right.
tantrum. This ain't it.
We gotta get out of here. One more thing. The Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar. Terrible. What is Braun Strowman doing? Is
Who
he just
cares?
out of practice?
Nobody cares.
Both need to get the
Nobody
fuck
cares.
out of here.
Brock's gonna win. Let's move to WrestleMania. I don't give a
I
fuck.
should have put the belt on Braun a year and a half ago.
Right here.
Like,
Oh, sorry. I thought you were
really, all
No,
I have to say.
this I say ain't too much more after that.
No.
Birthdays this week. Buff Bagwell, 49.
Left it down the
Still
stretch.
alive? Buff Bagwell still alive?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he
still
just
alive.
wrestled- he just
Jesus
wrestled-
Christ. Do we have to do this every week?
He just
Okay, for
wrestled
the
Lesnar.
record, this is not a game that we're
R.I.P.
playing of who's alive, who's dead.
Yeah,
We're just not
somebody
sure.
got at me and Jay Bell on Twitter the other day for they thought we were playing a game about who's alive and who's dead, but obviously
They're listening.
that's not the case. So happy birthday, Grandmaster Sexy! I think I saw you on Instagram the other day. Tamina is
Wait.
what?
No.
R.I.P.
Yeah, motherfucker. God damn.
That was the joke. That was the joke.
Oh, now it's a joke.
Ah, shit. Sorry, Grandmaster Sexy.
I went 6
R.I.P.
feet
Would have
over
been
my head.
47.
Oh.
Tamina's 41. Abdullah the Butcher, aka Abdullah the Hepatitis C, would have been 78.
Damn.
Takahashi is 38. Get well soon. Mason Ryan is
What, Hiromu's
37.
38, or is that
Takahashi's 38.
is it Hiromu, or is it
Are there two Takahashis?
there
Oh
are.
my God. There's that
I
second
don't
wheel.
I don't
We
think
just-
Hiromu's 38.
We're just coming down the stretch and good bumping.
Mason Ryan's 37.
Jiro.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan's 65.
Oh.
Matt Riddle is 33. Kelly,
Bro.
I almost wanted to call myself tonight R. Kelly. She's 32. Shane is 49. Shane McMahon's 49. Bull Buchanan is 51. Hey, everybody, we know there's tons of podcasts to listen to, so I appreciate you guys taking your time out to listen to ours. For Shock City Studios,
Check.
for Soul Taco,
Check.
for 83 Weeks with
Eric
Eric
Bischoff
Bischoff
and
and
Conrad
Conrad
Thompson.
Thompson. For JD Twigs, for F&B Eatery,
Check.
for Sam the Muller Mullo,
This
for
works
Murray
out.
the
Check.
Murray Man Murray,
Check.
for Two Beer Zach Bowman, for
Check.
JCB. I am Bill
Check.
Bagan. Everybody boo the heels.
Solid finish.